YouTubers, it's Judy from Wildly Passionate, and this week I'm going to be doing a video about what I learned at CTNx 2016. So if you don't know, last week was Thanksgiving, so I was off that week and I didn't post a video, and the week before that I was in California, in Burbank, and I was attending CTN. So I did a little Twitter poll to see what people would like to see on my channel this week, and we got one whole vote for the what I learned at CTNx, so that's the video I'm going to be doing. And this is going to be heavy talking, all talking, so if you're looking for an art-based video, that's not what this is. This is more advice if you want to go to CTN or if you want to find out what I learned from some of the presentations I went to at CTN. So if you plan on attending, these are my tips. Number one, bring a notebook. There is no recording of any kind allowed. CTN, they broadcast some of their stuff online, and so you can't record with your camera or with your phone or anything. So I took a ton of notes, and I recommend bringing a notebook. Pretty much everyone had a notebook or your iPad or your phone, something that you can type on so you can remember all of the valuable tidbits you learn. Then another thing I noticed was that business cards. So maybe halfway through the convention, people started leaving their business cards on some of the surfaces in the hotel that were empty, and so there were these huge stacks of everybody's business cards kind of just piled everywhere. And a lot of people would walk by and they'd be like, oh, what's this? And they'd look and see that it was business cards, and they just kind of look at this massive pile of business cards. So my business card, I felt like, was a little simple. It's gray and black and white, and it doesn't have like a piece of my art on it. It's just my information. So the ones that caught my eye were ones that were unique shapes. There was one that was like printed on really heavy cardstock that was a circle with some really nice colorful illustrations on it. So if you're going to make a business card and you want people to pick it up, make it colorful, make it bright, maybe put some special effects on it, like foil or glitter, something to catch people's eye so that your business card will stand out. Another thing I saw someone do that I hadn't thought of was to bring a little gift for any of the artists that you might be attending their sessions or having conversations with, that you might get to spend a little time with them. And if you admire them and you want them to remember you, maybe make a small gift. I saw people had like little keychains or stickers. Someone had like a sketchbook that they had done their own art on, and that way you are a little bit more memorable to that person you idolize so much, and they're more likely to remember who you are, maybe follow you back on social media. So I thought that was a really smart thing to do. And then also meals were tricky. Depending on how many panels, workshops, and sessions you go to, you might not have time for lunch or dinner or both. So pack like dense food. I packed like Cliff Bars or some sort of granola bar that keeps you full for a really long time, just in case things go back to back and you don't get a chance to actually sit down and have a meal. It saved my life, really. And water also. There is water in the hotel, but bringing your own is just easier. So then something I noticed in some of the sessions were that there were people who had really excellent questions that I appreciated them for asking, and then there were some other questions where I was like, do you even know who this artist is? That's kind of vague. You know, it was kind of annoying when people ask questions that you could have found the answers to yourself online with a Google search, or maybe people who knew the artist better already knew, so it was a little bit like a waste of time. Because the sessions are really like crunched for time. People have so much information they want to share that there's very rarely time for a lot of questions. So make sure if you are going to ask a question, make it something very insightful or unique that they can answer pretty specifically, so they can give you a specific answer, and it's something that you might not be able to find out for yourself. And also, I found that I stayed at the event hotel. I booked almost a year in advance, as far in advance as I could, to get the biggest discount. It's really convenient if you can afford it. I highly suggest it, because being able to go to my room between sessions and just sit and take like a little break was really wonderful. and not having to schedule my day around when the shuttles were coming and going. I think the shuttles work really well, and they go pretty late, like, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 or something, but sometimes there's some late night events, and sessions and workshops can go a little long, so it's one less stress for me, one less anxiety I don't want to have. So if you can, stay at the event hotel. And then finally, print out your receipt, invoice, make your own schedule, because they don't really hand those things out. And in my case, when I went to register, their website was not working. So the only people they could register were people who had everything written down on paper, so they could get you the tickets to the workshops you signed up for. And very few people had it actually printed out on paper. So that made the whole registration process go really, really slow. But I was one of the few lucky ones who, I'm kind of crazy and I print out everything just in case the internet doesn't work. And it actually happened to work in my favor this time. All right, so these are tips I learned from the sessions about different topics. So this one happens to be creating art. These are the tips that I found helpful. So one of the artists said that he has this 30-minute rule where whether he's inspired or not, he'll sit down at his easel or his desk or wherever he's working for at least 30 minutes. And whether ideas are coming or not, he sits there and he waits patiently for them to show up. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And if they don't come up, then you can give up and do something else, because there's no point trying to force something that's not going to happen. But you got to at least sit there for maybe 30 minutes if you can. Just give your brain time to give you creative ideas. Another artist mentioned that she knew at least 3 artists who had repetitive injury, what is that called? Repetitive motion injuries or back injuries, wrists, their eyes, and they could not work, and they were artists, so that was a huge deal. And she actually was injured recently too. So she says that she installs software on her computer so that she takes a break every 20 minutes to just stretch a little bit, maybe she did some specific wrist exercises. She could look around the room and like make sure your eyes are not getting all buggy, and check your posture, and just kind of like check in with your body at least every 20 minutes. And then probably like every hour or 2 hours, like get up and go walk around and do some like actual physical activity just to get away from the screens or the easel. This really stuck with me as well, is that your artwork is not just made up of your favorite part of the piece. So for me, a lot of times I love faces and portraits and people. So when I get around to drawing hands or feet or like a background, I kind of half-ass it, and it doesn't look very good. So what this artist did was that she waited to do her favorite thing until the very last stages of the painting. And this was so that she had a full composition, of finished piece, because the one part that you love the most, people will see it and their eye will be drawn to it, but the environment and the context really matters. It needs to be there. You need to spend time on it whether you want to or not. So just do it. Another thing was that these artists, they study human reactions that are genuine emotion and expressions, and they sort of avoided any like cliche things, because that can feel a little flat, a little empty. So just see what people actually do. Like posture can change, tone of voice. There's different ways to be scared. There's different ways to be happy. There's different ways your body and your face express that. So don't just go for the cliche, smiling, happy face. And then finally, it was do the work first. So a lot of times people look for a deal or a job or a guarantee that their project's going to make money before they do the work. And some of the artists I saw, they had, I think, like 11, 12 books that they didn't have any deals for them. They probably were never going to get published, but he was starting to get deals published now, and he would keep making those books whether there were deals or not, because he loved to do the work. So that was a sort of proof to potential publishers and stuff that he had the passion for this, that he really was going to follow through on his actions. So do the work, even if you're not going to get paid, because people are a lot more likely to trust you if you will even do the work for free. They will want to then pay you because they know that you are fired up about this and you are serious about this. So now I have some tips on improving your art. Do tons of iterations. This was a huge thing. Everybody showed sketchbook pages just full of thumbnails, rough drawings. It doesn't need to be finished and fancy, but the brainstorming process is crucial. And a lot of times I try to avoid it. I know it can be sort of kind of like, it's frustrating. It can be a little annoying because you just want to get started rendering. You know, I love detail and doing the actual act of creating. That's sort of my favorite part. So all the ideas and stuff, that part's fun, but I resist it sometimes. So don't resist it. Do as many iterations as you possibly can. Don't get too attached to anyone, and just try things. Try things that you know aren't going to work, but maybe there's an element in there that takes your design to the next level. And then if you're trying to learn to get better with, maybe you have a weak point. For me, color is something I'm not super confident with. Do as many master studies as you can, just to get a feeling of how the colors they use interact, like their saturation and how they look, that kind of thing. And just do them. Just do them. You can't use those pieces in your portfolio or whatever. They could be rough. But just study the colors they use, see how it feels to mix them and what kind of mood the image has, and just practice and learn from the people who have put in the crazy amounts of time and who have had major success. So in that same vein, do color studies of award-winning movies if color's a tricky thing for you. So I always think of Pixar movies for these. I feel like their colors are some of the best out there. So just like pause a movie on the screen and just quickly kind of create a little palette of what they used, or like a little compositional sketch of where the colors are placed, how much there is of each of them, and see if you sort of absorb just by doing again and again and again and again. And then also just a pretty general advice is that whenever you're making decisions about a color, a shape, size, contrast, pose, fashion, whenever you're making decisions about your piece of art or a character, it needs to be directly related to either the personality of the character or the emotion you are trying to convey. What is the mood? What is the atmosphere? Don't just choose things arbitrarily because you feel like that's what all bankers look like or something. Make sure the decisions have reasoning behind them that makes sense. And then this one I learned from Ian McCaig. He said that maybe for 6 months or something, you should every day take an image or an object, something, put it into like a binder or a notebook, whatever works for you, of something that made you feel genuine emotion, that stirred you, that caused you to react in an interesting way. Record those objects or times or sounds or smells, whatever they are, make a recording of them, and then keep that and use it in your art when you are developing story or character or plot lines, things like that. Use real things that actually have moved you. So up next, I learned some things about just professionalism in general, how these artists who are very successful professionals, how they approach the day-to-day stuff. So don't be selfish. I was told it's a very small industry. You might run into a lot of the same people, and if you're generous with your time and your knowledge, people will respond to that. They will be generous back with you, and you want to learn from other people too. They might know something you need to know. So don't just keep those things to yourself as sort of like trade secrets. It's kind of like karma. You want knowledge coming back to you so you get better as well. And then a lot of times artists think being an artist means you can be difficult, or it's so personal nobody could understand me. But if you want to make money, you need to act like a business person with a job. You need to act professional, and your art it's not necessarily a personal reflection on who you are. Exactly. It's your business. You're trying to make money. Maybe someday down the line when you're extraordinarily famous and you have tons of money and you can afford to lose jobs over your attitude, you can be as difficult as you want. But if you're beginning out, be kind to people, be courteous, be professional. And then also surround yourself with people who have the jobs you want. And in this way, I mean, make friends with these people. Don't just try to like learn their secrets and mooch off of them and, you know, waste their time. I mean, form genuine connections with people that you admire. Uh, People like to talk about themselves. They like to know that other people find them interesting. So, you know, like just be around those people, hang around them and just get to know them. Another thing is that there will always be excuses and reasons not to make art. Your kid will get sick, you will get sick, somebody will die, you know, there will be heavy snow, you know, your plumbing will break. There will always be reasons not to make art. Always. There's always excuses, and that's the same for any job. There's always things getting in the way. So take these things that happen, these life circumstances, into account when you're taking a job or agreeing on a timeline. Life continues to happen whether you have a job or not, and you need to be able to maneuver around those things and not use them as excuses not to get your work done. Everybody has a life. Everybody has things going on. And this one really struck me, so I put it in all caps. You learn more from failure than success. And I thought this was really quite a good point. It's kind of common sense because success kind of happens randomly. I feel like in art sometimes it's just the hit or miss kind of thing. But all your failures you can learn to get better from. And with art, there's a ton of failure. There's a ton of stuff that just it's on the drawing room floor or whatever that nobody ever sees. Most art never gets seen by the public, and that's where you do the real learning. So this is the final section, social media for artists. And here we go. So if you are on social media to promote yourself as an artist and you want to get a fan base and you want to get customers, you want people to pay attention to you, treat it as a job. So if you want to talk about, I don't know, your dog or what you ate for breakfast or the workout you're doing, maybe create a separate account for that and don't mix the two, because social media really is a very common way for people to get jobs now. Employers and recruiters look at it like they'll definitely judge you based on what's in your social media, and just treat it as a job. So this means making meaningful and thoughtful interactions with people in your industry, not just, you know, liking and hearting and following them, but actually responding to their work and giving them feedback. That's some of the most valuable stuff that you get on the internet as an artist, is that people from all walks of life can sort of tell you how they feel about your art, and you can think of it in a new way and you can improve. And it's a really great aspect, I think, of social media. So don't post things and then just run away. This sort of means if you're one of those just like post and then sign off people, it's going to rub people the wrong way because they might be responding, replying, commenting, asking questions, and they want to see that you're involved, that you care, that you are an approachable, actual person, and you're not just in it for yourself. Social media is community building. It's not just a fandom where people adore you, and it's an interaction. You need to be friendly. So if you're going to sign up for any social media, make sure you can be fully present and active on it. So don't overextend yourself, which I think is the next one. Don't set unrealistic expectations. If you can't keep up with a Tumblr, just get rid of the Tumblr, because people are more put off by someone who's not active on their social media or sees that you just like post things and sign off and like there's zero interaction. They're more put off by that than if they see that you have just a Twitter account and you are totally like responsive and awesome on there. You're constantly on there providing value and knowledge and insights, and that you're participating. They would rather see that than just like kind of vanity posting is what I'd call it. And then you're going to definitely want to keep to a schedule. The internet likes schedules depending on what social media you're on. Different kind of schedules work, but just keep it the same. Be consistent. Don't keep changing the schedule. And this is with the unrealistic expectations. Make sure it's a schedule you can actually keep to. And so with that, post with intention. Before you hit the post button, if it's coming from sort of like a ranty, emotional place, maybe wait a day, see if you still need to post it. Otherwise, does it reflect what kind of artist you are, what kind of jobs you want, what kind of work you do? Does it fit with your kind of business model? So be sure to think about that before you post. And then you're going to reply and respond as much as possible, especially in the beginning, because you are not inundated with so many fans that you can't get back to them. You know, when you're in the low numbers, it's actually a lot easier to do social media. So make people feel heard. Like, you can have real life friends from these fans online. These can be genuine friendships, and the people who feel like they know you in that sense are going to be, in a way, even better customers down the line. They're going to care more when you work on projects or something that maybe you need funding for. They'll be more willing to help you out also, because you have actually formed a genuine connection. So the big takeaway I got from my CTN experience was that all of these people who work for Pixar, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, Disney, Sony, all of these huge companies, these are normal people who simply work so damn hard to get where they are. I a little bit was expecting to hear these people talk and be blown away by either their charisma or some sort of X factor or some kind of genius that just was like rolling off of them, and you could tell that these people were like gods in their industry. And that's not what I experienced. Pretty much everyone who presented was a normal human being with normal insecurities and normal failures and successes. The only difference I really found was that these people work super, super, super hard, and they are very passionate and they care a lot. And so there is no secret sauce to making it in this industry, which it's comforting and also a little bit scary, because it's like these people are my peers. I can be like one of these people if I just keep working hard. So it has definitely lit a fire under my butt, and I am going to continue to work hard, but even upping my game and working that much harder, because the dedication of the people I saw speaking is outrageous. They love their jobs, but there's no secret. There's not any sort of magic that they have that I don't have. So my big takeaway was, one day I could be one of these people, and it's simply a matter of working crazy hard and caring about what you do. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you ever plan on attending a CTN in the future, let me know on social media. On Twitter, I'm at jwinsorart. So let me know. Maybe we can meet up sometime. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care and stay passionate. Stay extra passionate.